All right, so welcome you all, and I hope you have done up to chapter number 5. No, all right, 3. Okay, fine. I will be taking care from this chapter number 6. No, that is social infrastructure and employment. Now, before I get into what exactly the chapter is and what are the dimensions of the chapter, there are a few things that you need to know. First thing first, which I'm sure will be a general question in most of your minds, that what exactly is economic survey and how we should read it from the examination purpose, right? Because obviously it's a lengthy document and a lot of statistics and graphical representations are there. So what you should carry with you while doing economic survey, be it in class or on your own revisions. 2 things I'd like to say, but that makes it necessary to tell you some perspective about economic survey. I'm sure by now you must be knowing that this is the flagship document of the government of India, started in 1950. The economic survey was started in 1950, way back, if you go in history. But those days, it was just some statistics, some 30 pages, 35 pages. And year after year, it went on increasing. From 1964, it became ritualistic that one day before the budget, it will be presented to the honorable parliamentarians. Look, let's understand this way. I presented a budget, and budget is for upcoming years. So let's say this year's budget, we said it is going to be of roughly 45 lakh crore rupees. Or last year budget was said, when budget was introduced, that it will be of roughly 40 lakh crore rupees. And what is the actual scenario now? Is it really 40 lakh? Is it more than that, less than that? Slightly more than that. It is almost 42 lakh crore. So 2 lakh crore rupees extra, you can say, from what your budget estimates are. So budget is what? And a kind of estimate that upcoming financial year, we are going to have this much income, this much expenditure, these heads, etc., etc. Now, when the year is completed, we need better statistics to compare that what we projected, where we are now. Are we closer? Are we deviating a lot? So that we can see how good our projections are. That was the reason why economic survey was introduced. If you go into the archives of the Ministry of Finance, you can get this information, that budget, to cross-check in a way that whether the budget is right or wrong and whatever the estimations were apt or not. That is where we got this idea of economic survey. And from 1964, you can say, it was more a kind of comparative chart between what you said in the budget and what actually has happened. But then things started changing, particularly after 1991. As we all are aware of that, 1991 onwards, we got various changes, and we got this M document where Montek Singh Ahluwalia, Manmohan Singh, and many more, Tarapore and all, they came together and drafted the new Indian economy, what you call economic reforms of 1991 onwards. That time, Montek Singh Ahluwalia himself has been in IMF, his wife is also in IMF. So they've got that inside also. And economic survey from 93 onwards got a new perspective. And that is something which signifies for you. So your story actually connects here. From 93 onwards, economic survey was not mere a document of comparison, but it also became an insider suggestion to the government that what government should do, what government should avoid, and how the money should be utilized. In a way, a suggestion was given by the experts insider of the Ministry of Finance, that how government should try to identify or what are the challenges and where we can work, and what should be our key priorities, etc. This is where we got, because in IMF, what happens, if you know that also, it may help a bit. In IMF, we get a very important document, I'm sure you all are knowing it, that is called World Economic Outlook. In the World Economic Outlook, we got 2 booklets. The first booklet is analysis oriented, which says the world economy should go in which direction. I do not know whether you're aware it or not, whether you're aware of or not, but IMF also keep monitoring on fiscal policies of various governments, that how the governments are performing in their fiscal policies. That's how they got another report called Fiscal Policy Report. So IMF advises to the government that you should take these kind of stance. Let me give an example to make it more connected. You might have heard that Sri Lanka gone through the BOP crisis. IMF in 2017 has advised Sri Lanka not to reduce the tax, not to have that tax cut because already their tax revenue was lesser. Had they listened that, probably they could have saved the embracement what they got. And Gotabaya did a mistake because he have not heard what IMF was saying. There are several examples across the world when you can see that IMF approach or analysis has saved the countries from getting into various troubles. So from 1993, now what happened that IMF started giving this analytical outlook, and that traveled to India also. So from 1993, Economic Survey provides certain advices to the government. Certain advices to the government. It is not binding on the government that government has to follow those advices. But what has been found that when IMF is saying something, when now Economic Survey is saying something, Government of India do not just overlook it. We may not consider it in toto. We may not consider it in totality, but we listen to that. And not a surprise, in your mains examination, you can see it that whatever major recommendations given by Economic Survey are more than often asked. Like when they gave the survey that we need to, Vivek Dobroyev and said that railway should be revamped. You got a mains question directly that why Vivek Dobroyev committee was there, and when we got the suggestion coming in Economic Survey, it came up. When they said Essential Commodities Act should be amended a bit, the idea came up by the government. So there are several things which started from 1993. So I can say briefly that Economic Survey now got two approaches. One is called data approach. Another is called analysis approach. For you, analysis approach is important. So they provide a lot of data. But data is secondary to you. What is important is what they are saying in analysis and some very specific schemes, programs that you should be aware of. That what are the major initiatives, like last year when we got Gati Shakti, you got a complete question in the mains. It's very natural because Gati Shakti was another idea given by Economic Survey. This year you might be listening in your news that we are going with systematic disinvestment in public sector enterprises. This was the suggestion given by Economic Survey in 2019. These are a few examples. There could be hundreds of such examples which Economic Survey has advised and subsequently government has adopted. Now, as a UPSC aspirant, what is expectation from you is that you should be having some idea that what this discussion is, what is the merit of this discussion, why this is being done, and to what extent this is right and wrong and so. In fact, one more thing is there that when Raghuram Rajan, another veteran from IMF, when he came to India, he advised why not this document should come in two booklets. So since then we got two booklets coming up. The first booklet is complete analysis. The second booklet is complete data. The idea was to segregate. This year we have seen that our chief economic advisor, Anant Nagarajan, what he did, he mixed it a bit. So this booklet, which we are going to refer to booklet 1, is a mixed combo of both. Some data, but more analysis. And booklet 2 is complete data. It's pure statistics. Those who know statistics, those who have studied economics, they only can enjoy that document. So second booklet is of no use for you. But one thing I was wondering that, look, how it completed the 360 degree. The first economic survey was of 38 pages. And this year, Chief Economic Advisor, being affectionate to the common readers, introduced another synopsis of it. Being a teacher, probably he understands the benefits of synopsis. He has been teacher in Singapore for a fairly long time. So he introduced one thing called a synopsis. And synopsis is again 38 pages. Now look, 360 degree completed. So this year we got a synopsis. That synopsis could be very significant for you. In fact, it is available on Ministry of Finance, Economic Survey, synopsis. When the, in a way, complete highlights of the Economic Survey has been provided in more graphical representation, more in, infographics kind of thing. So if by any chance, you don't have time to read the Economic Survey or you don't have neck for it, perfectly all right. Not everyone has neck for it. At least read that highlight carefully. And what has been said in highlight, from mains perspective, that is going to be very important because every chapter they have highlighted what could be significant there. In prelims, whatever significant data is, that has been already added there. And you have to create some links also. Now, this class is actually focusing on that. Not only just data sharing, but we'll try to understand what is happening elsewhere and how they could be interlinked, because UPSC asks question on that. So, A, you need to understand what you have to take from economic survey. If you're in a hurry, not reading the entire document, at least read those highlights, but then don't make highlights of the highlights. Read it thoroughly. At least read those documents thoroughly, because I was wondering, to be honest, when I was reading the document, I was wondering what they have skipped and what could have been added in the highlights. But I myself was convinced that no, nothing could be added into it. In fact, almost everything in infographic format has been said. In fact, the way they have written, this is another thing I would like to say, the way highlight has been written is exactly how you should write in your mains. If you see the way highlight has been given, hub spoke models and other kind of detailings, because in few words you can write a lot. So that could be a good anchor even in the mains examination. Now, this chapter, which is there in economic survey, talks about the social sector. Now, needless to say, why in economic survey we are talking about the social sector? What is the significance of social infrastructure? I can see a few people known, that in the classes we have discussed about it also, that, economy has two clear objectives. Mere GDP is not good enough. We need to focus on inclusive growth. And inclusive growth rests upon two key parameters. Understand this. Inclusive growth simply means there are two key parameters. There are a few things which should be given to everyone, irrespective of merit. Like if someone is very lethargic, lazy, fit for nothing, good for nothing, but then even food should be given to them. Then even shelter should be given to them. Then even basic dignity should be given to them. Isn't it? So there are a few things which economy or the country must make sure is given to everyone, irrespective of merit. Here we got food, here we got shelter, here we got some basic dignity, housing, safe drinking water, sanitation, cooking fuel, these kind of things. And then there are a few things which should be based upon merits. Otherwise, how you will appreciate people to work hard? Not everything should be given free. Not everything should be for everyone. But few essential things should be given to everyone. And then there should be enough of attempt to make sure that merit is also strengthened. And that's why, if you could recall, in inclusive growth, we have seen, in general, in your classes you read, inclusive growth have two clear objectives: to make sure that basic necessities are given and fulfilled to everyone, irrespective of any discrimination, and to make sure that capabilities are being nourished and flourished, and that is possible with health, education, skill development, these kind of things. So a fine balance of that ensures that your economy grows, your country prospers. So, that is possible only when you make a fine balance. In this chapter, the economic survey tries to tell us how government is trying to strike that balance. Now, in the classes we have discussed, and I'm sure you have been told about that, when we talk about inclusive growth, we have one parameter, global parameter, what you call SDG, Sustainable Developmental Goals. As you know, 17 goals are there. And, similarly, how we measure it, one of the very highly appreciated document is HDI. So not a surprise, this economic survey considers HDI as a benchmark. And HDI is given by UNDP. UNDP gives, in the classes we have discussed, UNDP gives 3-4 major parameters. HDI, then we have what is called Gender Inequality Index. Another very decorated is Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index, which is well received these days in political corridors. So they have taken hint from two of the reports. One is HDI, that where we stand. And second, they have taken hint from that what is the case in Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index. Now, what is the significance? Again, if you see 2020 economic survey has referred to multidimensional poverty index. In mains, there is a complete question on that. That what is this multidimensional poverty index and what is the latest report? I'm not guessing. I'm not saying that this time they will also ask. But this is how, if something is highlighted, and otherwise it has been a while HDI has not been asked. I'm not saying anything. It has been a while HDI has not been asked, so I will be 0% surprised if something of that turns up. So HDI and multidimensional poverty index they have taken to gauge where we are to fulfill the basic necessities of everyone. And second thing, you know what? There is one thing, very ambitious program, again advised by Niti Aayog, recommended by Economic Survey, that is called aspirational districts. Aspirational districts are those districts which are not that grown up, but they have chances, they have future, they have prospects, what you call in management, they have prospects. Now we have 117 aspirational districts. So they have also gauged, obviously how you'll come to know that we are doing enough for everyone, by looking into what could be the basic benchmark. So if aspirational districts are doing good, it can be convincingly said that we are doing good, by and large. So this chapter tries to gauge that how much we have improved in ensuring that basic necessities of everyone are fulfilled. Whether we are good, whether we are bad, what else should be needed, etc. Then they also are trying to focus upon what is the status of labor in a situation in India, whether employment has been created, generated, where we stand, what are the future challenges in employment, and these kind of things. They have also talked about that what are the challenges in terms of health and what exactly makes good quality of life. Now this is where they are highlighting various major schemes, flagship schemes of each department, each unit for good quality of life. This I think would be important from mains point of view also. That I'll tell you subsequently. One more thing which signifies to us that, in fact, they have highlighted, they have taken a hint from EPFO payrolls that is increasing. That means more people are getting into formal. Now this is where the linkage is. A lot of debate is going on into old pension scheme versus new pension scheme. In this, if we got this kind of data coming from economic survey that EPFO payroll has increased, something of that might be asked. So they have tried to tell us that how labor is interconnected with what is called betterment of human, there's a term for it called human capital. So how human capital is doing good in terms of labor and all. And they have taken both sides of, I'm sure you have heard in your classes that labor data is calculated on a very famous document coming from NSO. NSO, आप ensuring that CSO and NSO has been merged, called NSO. And that is what is called Periodical Labor Force Survey. And they have also taken the reference from one thing called Annual Survey of Industries. ASI is nothing but you might have heard in your classes about one thing called Index of Industrial Production, IIP. IIP is monthly. If you collect IIP for the entire year, that becomes annual survey. However, in annual survey, we take registered things, not just the weightages of a few sectors. So they have taken hints from all these things and telling us that where we stand, what needs to be done, where we should be focusing upon, etc., etc. So this is a brief introduction that what exactly chapter is going to talk about. Now let's see in detail what the chapter is saying. And whenever I'm saying that you can take a note also because this is something significant. If you have the document, you can scribble in that. Otherwise, you can make a separate note that this is something which you should consider. Chapter starts with, that what exactly, can you see this graph? This graph is telling us that how much increase in expenditure is there by the government on the social sector. If you see, combine central and state. If you combine central and state, in social sector, our expenditure is something. This is total expenditure in lakh crore. If you see that, our social sector expenditure is continuously growing. Continuously growing. Expenses on social services in lakh crore has been shown this way. So can you see that, we are spending almost 21.3 lakh crore in social sector. 21.3 lakh crore is being spent. In fact, if you see the original document, this has been highlighted. The 21.3 lakh, I don't think you need to remember this data. If you remember, well and good, otherwise not that significant that you are going to mug up this data, that what is this 21.3 lakh crore. But yes, we can say safely, what you can carry from this data, that government is continuously increasing its expenditure in social sector. We are continuously increasing expenditure in social sector. And if you see even in the percentage of expenditure is also increasing. So what you can carry from this key graph which they have given in introduction says that by and large, year after year, both central and state government are spending more in terms of in terms of, you can say, social sector, and social sector consists of all that basic necessities fulfilled, plus health, plus education, plus social security to the elderlies and others. So this is what has been said, that how increased share of expenditure on health, overall expenditure in social sector has been increased. They have referred one thing that I hope you are aware of, that our HDI ranking is a bit poor this time. From the last year, if you see, last year we were 131, but mind it was in 189 countries. This year it is 132, but in how many countries? 191. This is a catch that you should remember. This is where you may mislead. It's 191, not 189. So if they say 132 upon 189, that will be wrong statement. It's 132 in 191 countries. But across the globe, due to COVID, the HDI report of many countries has gone down. And we are no exception to that. So our life expectancy has gone low. That is something which is bothering. Life expectancy is now 67.2. I'm sure you have read in your routine classes that now the current life expectancy is 67.2, while in earlier report it was 69.7. So can you see the impact of COVID is visible? Because what happens in life expectancy? That at the time of birth, how many years you will live? The increased casualties in COVID has dropped this figure. So our life expectancy is now 67.2. That clearly signifies that we need to work more on health infrastructure. And we are doing it. As you know that in Ayushman Bharat, Swasthya infrastructure, we are working 68,000 crore rupees, and several things have been done. But we need to understand that we are not alone. We are not alone. Many countries has witnessed a downfall in their HDI value. But I'm not saying two wrong things make it right. And so does economic survey. Economic survey is not taking a shield in this, that, as every country is going down and we also went down, so what's wrong into that? We accept that we need to work upon this sector. Even primary school facilities has gone slightly down. I don't know whether they're knowing how HDI is calculated or not. But in the classes, I'm sure you can recall that we have discussed that what is HDI? It consists of three things. One is life expectancy, second is education, third is standards of life. In the education, we got two subheads. One is expected year of school for the kids, and for mature of 25 years, what will be an average of the gone years of school. That is what HDI is. Now listen to me very carefully, this could be important from examination point of view. Our expected year of schools has gone down. From earlier 12.1, it has come to 11.9. Now this data says something that we need to act and work upon this. And that's why I strongly believe, you may see this question even in prelims, that what is PM Shri? PM Shri is a very important school to upgrade our schools. Those who are not knowing, it is one of the most ambitious schemes in education in the recent past, where 14,300 originally, now 14,500. 14,500 government schools will be upgraded. They will be modernized, they will be upgraded, and the total budget is going to be almost close to 28,000 crores. So 28,000 crore is going to be budget. It's close to 28,000. So 28,000 crore will be the budget. Sizable section will come from center. Some will come from state, because schooling and education is in concurrent list. So now what is going to happen? PM Shri is one of the very ambitious schemes to revitalize our primary schooling. And for that, what we are doing is all these schools will be upgraded, modernized, and I would like to bring to a special notice here that in PM Shri, we are also going to make school climate friendly. So water harvesting will be done there. Kids and students will be taught how to be sustainable, how to think of climate friendly behaviors and these kind of things. So this way, PM Shri, in fact, take a note of it somewhere, and this could be one of the very important things you should remember, that what is PM Shri Yojana and how it's going to work. And whenever they're asking scheme, they ask sometime budgetary allocations, because it's a big expenditure we are going to have in education. It is for government schools. So almost 14,500 schools will be now reshaped with the smart classrooms, with better facilities and such like things. So why we are doing it? Because we have seen in our HDI ranking that we are going down, especially on two parameters, health and education. That's why we are working on these things also. So that has been said here, that how the ranking is and how the value has gone slightly down, that is 0.633. Why I think HDI may be significant even from mains point of view, because I told you it has been a while they have not asked HDI, and there's a lot of debate going on in Amrit Kal that how to be a developed country. The definition of developed comes from two sources, World Bank and HDI. So that makes another thing why HDI could be in the discussion here. Because if any country is having HDI value of, I'm sure you have read it, 0.7002, 0.799, they are called developed. More than that, highly developed. Less than that, that is 0.550 to 0.699 are called developing, and below than that, underdeveloped. We are 0.633, that means we are developing. So this is what HDI ranking is. Gender inequality index of India is 122. In fact, that's why United Nations and Women has used a term for it, that there's a hidden epidemic. In the COVID, we got a hidden epidemic that gender empowerment got a hit. And whatever initiatives are taken by various countries, that got a hit because of COVID. So gender inequality index is also, but again, if you see that South Asia, the entire South Asia has got the same tendency. Now, this is something which is significant, that by and large, our multidimensional poor has gone down. I'm sure that you are knowing multidimensional poverty index. Those who are not knowing should at least take a note of it. That multidimensional poverty index is an index given by UNDP, and there's one organization called OPHI, Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. They together give this index, and this index consists of 10 variables. 2 for health, 2 for education, and 6 for other kind of standards of life. For health, we have two things. One is called nutrition, and second is what is the scenario of child mortality rate. For education, we have two things, that is expected year of schooling and school attendance. Another 6 things are cooking fuel is there or not, house is there or not, sanitation is there or not, safe drinking water is there or not, and then we have what is called other assets kind of thing. So that is how we got 10 parameters. In India, we have our own multidimensional poverty index. I hope you're aware of that India, Niti Aayog has its own multidimensional poverty index, but there we have 12, 2 more, and 2 more are, one is antenatal care in health, and in standard of life, bank account. So if you have not read it yet, I strongly recommend at least take a quick look. Why? Because as multidimensional poverty index is something where we are doing better, they may ask something about India's own multidimensional poverty index. One thing you should remember, which I've already highlighted though here and there in classes, that in this India's multidimensional poverty index, the data we are using is little older, and that is National Family Health Survey data 4. National Family Health Survey data 4 of 2015-16. Though National Family Health Survey data 2019-20 is also out. Those who are not knowing, for them quickly, that Ministry of Health and Family Welfare publishes a very important data that is called National Family Health Survey. Now we got the 5th series of it for 2019-20. So this is how the report is saying that how by and large, now this you can take a note, 16.4%. How much? 16.4. That means we have reduced a lot. If you see in 2005-06, we were almost 55%. Almost 55%. And 2019 to 2021, now it is 16.4. That means we have improved a lot. Lucky, I would like to add one more thing. World Bank has cautioned us that whatever we have done in multidimensional poverty index might see a setback. And for them, for especially India and Nigeria, World Bank has used a term called new poor. New poor would be those who are otherwise good above poverty, but because of epidemic, they are slipping back into below poverty. So multidimensional poverty index is telling us we are 16.4. I don't think they will ask you the data, but they may ask this way, that there is a continuous decline in multidimensional poverty index in India. And Niti Aayog is also showing that yes, we are improving a bit. Be careful, as I'm saying data, it is my moral responsibility to caution this also, that globally it is 16.4 for India, multidimensional poverty index, but Niti Aayog is saying it is 25%, because we have added two more things now. So for Niti Aayog it is 25%, don't get confused into that. Niti Aayog data is saying 25%, while here we are saying 16.4%. That is where we have improved a lot. As I was telling you, they have also taken the example of aspirational district. How many we have? 117. And aspirational districts are by and large has performed across the board. That is a good sign. That means schemes are reaching. Schemes are reaching to the, because in India, one of the very significant problem with the schemes is that it is not reaching to the beneficiary. So aspirational district programs doing better on every scale is in a way testimonializing that India's overall situation has improved. So we are ensuring that aspirational districts or these districts which have prospects, infrastructure is being developed there, facilities are being made available. That gives us a good sign, especially that how, because if aspirational districts are doing good, that means by and large you can say you have good governance. I hope you're knowing that government is going with this slogan, no? Maximum governance and minimum government. So this proves that we are reaching there. And in aspirational districts, we got one more thing now that is called Mission Utkarsh. Mission Utkarsh is to focus on mission mode on these districts. And we are also going on block level. As you know, in districts, we have blocks. So at block level, we are also having aspirational block programs. So that, let's say, whatever your district is, if your district is aspirational district, maybe overall district is performing good, but a few blocks may not. So we are focusing on those blocks also, that what needs to be done in these. So this is a new development which Niti Aayog has advised. So Economic Survey has taken a note of it. In mains, aspirational district could be significant. If they're asking prelims, you should be knowing that it was introduced in 2018. Initially it was, because they may ask this way, no? Consider following statement. It was introduced in 2018. Earlier it was 115, now it is 117. So 117 districts are there. Yes, ma'am. Utkarsh 2.0 is there. That we have. So that's how Mission Utkarsh is something which we are focusing and intensifying. So the idea is to make sure, this is called targeted approach. Because if let's say we are, there's a problem in social welfare, she's asking about Utkarsh 2.0. There is a problem in social welfare that in welfare we do a mistake that is called fit for all formula. In this class, every student might have their own specific requirements. You might have different pace of learning. So we should not go for fit for all formula. We should be focusing upon it. So Utkarsh 2.0 is actually working upon that we should have focused approach on developing the area. Here I would like to say one thing, I'm not going to discuss here, but in the original document, all 4 major labor reforms has been given. And if there has been given, though already in 2020 mains question has been asked, but still I believe labor reforms, because of this old pension versus new person debate, is something back in the discussion. Now, so can you see that first they tried to tell us that by and large we are doing good in multidimensional poverty index. That means that things are reaching to the people. By and large, but one more thing is there, though I don't want to get into that direction. Though we are doing good in multidimensional poverty index, but there is something to be worried about. The worry is that out of 6 multidimensional poor in India, 5 belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. That means, though we are doing good, but we need to be more focused into scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. This is where we are trying to identify beneficiaries with a lot of schemes for tribes and others. So by and large, India is doing good in terms of ensuring the facilities, but we have also admitted that we need to work on education. We need to work on health infrastructure. We have to make sure that whatever facilities we are providing, we are expediting into that. Here in the main document, if you see the vision, this is Vision's document. Here they have not presented, but if you see the original document of economic survey, they have given even all 10 sector-wise, that in each of them, how we are performing. And housing for all, along with what is called school attendance has been the concern. So this way you can say that focus is, that's why I'm saying PM Shri, that's probably our job is, to cut it short and give you that this could be significant. So whatever is there in education could be a genuine question in your prelims also. So that's how they had said, by and large, India is doing good in terms of ensuring basic necessities are fulfilled. Am I making sense? Are you listening or are you sleeping? I don't know. All right. So, because obviously it's a rapid fire round, a kind of advanced class, But then even I'm trying to make sure that you can connect the things, because I think if you're listening carefully, even in the examination, in the options, you can easily eliminate that this is what the things are. However, they have also said the benefits of Aadhaar. As you know, Aadhaar has been one of the flagship scheme to provide, in a way, social security number. It would be wrong to call Aadhaar a social security number, but it is something going or heading into that direction. Most of the government schemes, central sector and central sponsored scheme, I hope you could differentiate between the two. Central sector is which is completely funded by the central government, and central sponsored are those which are partly funded by the central government and partly by the state government. So many of the schemes, can you see now almost 318 central schemes and other DBT etc. are preferring now Aadhaar linkages. Aadhaar linkages are there. Aadhaar has been also used for DBT transactions now, direct benefit transactions. And in one country, one ration card kind of initiative, even PDS has been largely linked with biometric verifications. So this way they had said that how we have Aadhaar used in DBT, how, I would like to tell you one thing, that India is working on the financial inclusion also. In case of financial inclusion, the first initiative was taken in 2015. That is called National Mission on Financial Inclusion, in short, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile. And from 2019 to 2024, RBI is observing National Strategy for Financial Inclusion. When I say financial inclusion, most of the people do this mistake. Financial inclusion does not mean only ensuring the financial facilities. It says 5-6 things based on Rangarajan Committee report. A, financial literacy should be there, because this is one of the key challenges. Second, availability of the finance or the credit in the agriculture sector, in the left out sectors. Third, it should be cost effective. It should be cost effective as per my requirements. It should not be the case that, you are giving the services which I don't need and the cost is very high. Maybe I'm a farmer, I don't need your visa and these kind of tapping. Even RuPay card will do. But the idea is that it should be catering my requirement. So that's how, when we say financial inclusion, not a surprise, in mains you got a question last year because we were into the national strategy of financial inclusion. Considering this, even maybe you might be aware of that various tech companies, fintech companies, are now invited by, and please, though not concerned here, maybe an additional thing, but you should be aware of that with the help of Indian Post payment banks, we are developing one model. In this model, various fintech companies, let's say you got a startup like this, Razorpay and that kind of thing, you can approach to Indian Post Payment, and Indian Post Payment will give you one number, and with the help of that you can provide services to various people into the villages, considering their requirement. This is called finculation. You should be aware of this document. Finculation is something you can search, finculation, Indian Post Payment Banks. This is where the government is promoting fintech companies. So this is another way which is going to be further empowering Aadhaar for the financial inclusion. Take me very seriously, for next 3 years, financial inclusion is very important topic from mains perspective, because it is a win-win situation. As you know, higher the financial inclusion, higher will the money multiplier, which is our key prospect. And as the banks are going through a bad phase, money multiplication is needed. Liquidity availability is something which is required. So, in fact, that's where the point is. I told you already that data says a lot. Those who are the students can recall, we have talked about Credit Suisse challenge. Even that time, this may come up. Now, finally, it was natural because the way they were coming up, Dr. Doom's theory was there. That's called Doom loop. So it was very much obvious that this is going to happen. The way they were into what is called short-term bond. So the point is that you may not know the significance of it. In fact, that is the objective of this class. But you can borrow it that this is important from the examination point of view because something big is interconnected here. So finculation is a very important development. So they may ask something, recently you have heard finculation in the news, what is this? Something like that. You should be aware of that it is an initiative to ensure that we are reaching to the downtrodden section, those who don't have banks account, insurance, pension, and other kind of things, by developing fintech companies to their tailor-made requirements. Because as a villager, I may have a specific requirement. I need insurance for my cattle. मुझे अपने cattle के लिए insurance चाहिए. So obviously I can't afford the big premium and the big facilities. Give me the basic things with a low cost. So these things are being done. So here again, if you see the main document, a lot of elaboration has been given. We have cut it short. So you can remember this, that how CoWIN, face authentication, PM Kisan Samman Nidhi is another thing. Again, I'm sure you have heard of it. PM Kisan Samman Nidhi is what? Especially for the low and marginal farmers, what we are doing is, when I say marginal farmer, what does it mean? Those who are having less than 1 hectare. When I say small farmer, that is less than 2 hectare. Semi-medium farmer means 2 to 4 hectare. Medium farmer means 4 to 10 hectare. And more than 10 hectares are called big farmers. So as India is having more than 82% of the farmers, as per Agriculture Census 2015, as India is having more than 82 farmers in less than 2 hectare land, it is very, in fact, maybe tomorrow I'll tell you that how land holding is also reducing. Currently it is only 1.1 hectare per household. So this proves that our farmers need some assistance. And this is where comes PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. It is given to all marginal small farmers, where 2,000 rupees into 3 installments in a year. That means 6,000 rupees has been provided. Don't get confused. There's another thing that is called PM Asha. That's even more important initiative that I'll talk in agriculture a bit. So these are Aadhaar linked things. So we got a quick reference that what has been there. Now, why we economic survey is talking about it? Each of the case, almost for each of them, they had given half a paragraph telling us that how Aadhaar has enabled this facility to the larger section of the society. Then, obviously, one of the very significant thing which has been the debate in India, that is employment generation. Government is well aware of it, but let me tell you one thing. Government is very sure of one thing, that we cannot give that employment which make them dependent lot. You know what? Though we read a lot about employment, but as per IMF says there are 4 types of unemployment. One in unemployment is demand side. What is demand side unemployment? Where your economic cycles are going slow. As you know, there is a boom period and then there's a recession period. Whenever economic cycles are going slow, unemployment comes. That is called cyclical unemployment. And then there is one thing called structural unemployment. That is supply side. Structural unemployment is where they don't have those skills which is required for the market. So they might know a lot about history, geography, plate tectonics, and blah, 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 but they don't know how to make Excel sheet. Most of the jobs you cannot do. With due respect, if you cannot make an Excel sheet, most of the jobs you are unfit for. You're unfit for, with due respect. If you don't know the basic of some things, maybe. This is called structural unemployment. Now, what is the problem of India is, suddenly both of the unemployment has converged. Because of COVID, cyclical also happened, and then we have structural unemployment also. And that's why suddenly we have seen unemployment has become a big issue in the COVID time. And that's the reason why government has to act. Now, here with the help of the data, of periodic labor force survey, and in the periodic labor force survey we talk about some very important data also. Again, those who have not read, and I can tell you a quick reference for it, you just search periodical labor force survey, PIB, and you'll get the basic definitions and the data. It is just one-page document but worth referring for. Periodical labor force survey data says some very important document. One is called labor force participation rate, LFPR. LFPR simply says how many of them are young. So you tell me, are you unemployed? You are not, because unemployed is one who's seeking employment and not getting it. So don't go by this definition that in the age group of 15 to 60 you are unemployed. No. So periodical labor force survey says labor force participation rate, that is called LFPR. LFPR says how many of them are willing, seeking and capable. Willing, seeking and capable in this particular age group, divided by total population multiplied by 100. Be careful. ILO says divided by age group, but here we say total population. That's why if you go with the definition of ILO, they will say labor force participation rate in India is 55. If you go with India's definition, it will say 40%. This is where the mismatch is. So you should be aware of this data, that why it happens. And then worker population ratio, unemployment rate, and these things. By and large, on all scales, we have improved. And that too in rural and urban areas, and that too in male and females, because this data tells us employment around males and female, urban and rural. So should we clap? No. Why? Because COVID has already brought us to the bare bottom. This is called base effect in economics. So when already you have not performed well, any improvement is an improvement. So that even economic survey has cautioned that there is an impact of previous data also. So look, that's the honesty of the document, because I told you document is pure academic. It don't have any political element in it. So they have admitted it also, that there may be some impact, because in COVID our situation was poor, and that's why post-COVID it's looking slightly better on all platforms. Male and female, rural and urban, our overall employment has increased. So that is how they have talked about, and you know this data is something which is provided by, periodical labor force survey data is provided by NSO. So NSO has given us this data, and similarly, if you see that, annual survey data is also highlighting. So if you see that, employment trend on the supply side, where we take the data from, again, MOSPI or NSO gives us a data about annual survey of industries. I have just told you, annual survey of industry is nothing but yearly compilation. It's a long-term data. IIP is monthly, annual survey is yearly, and there is one data coming from Labor Bureau also, that is quarterly. Labor Bureau might have read about CPI, industrial worker, and that calculates. So Labor Bureau provides quarterly data. All the data are showing by and large, if you see here, we got a thing that by and large in all sectors, we have seen that job opportunities has been grown up. However, the maximum we can see is food product industry. The maximum job rise we can see in food product industry. Can you see means food processing questions? It's not out of context. So food processing is silver lining in India. And that's why you might be knowing that there is an initiative called, I hope you're aware of that food processing is now under PLI quota. It is under PLI. PLI is given to how many sectors? 14 sectors. Production linked incentives are given to 14 sectors. Food processing is one of them. And 10,900 crore rupees allocation has been made for that. Even we have operation like Operation Green, Stop to Total, and then we have even PM Kisan Sampada's fund has also been increased by 4,600 crore rupees. The entire concept is to make sure that employment is being created. So here is the result that proves that almost every sector we have, and can you see here? Always manufacture provides, the biggest employment, and that's why we say manufacture is the backbone of the economy. That's the reason you might have read there's one thing called Manufacturing Policy of 2011, which is continuously focusing upon increasing employment with the help of manufacturing. So this is how, both the data are proving, these graphs has been taken for that A, self-employed, regular wages, casual wages, they all are increasing. So you can say employment-wise, there's an increase. So there is an increase on the demand side, there's an increase on the supply side. So one thing which is very interesting, that in India, self-employed has increased. Year after year, we can say there is a rise in self-employed. So this data is also signifying that self-employment is increasing, which is definitely a genuine replacement. If you really want to create employment, don't seek the jobs. It has been said now, create the jobs. So self-employment is increasing in India. Even as I told you that EPFO payroll has increased, that clearly increased, that formalization of employment has happened. So what you need to remember then in this entire 3-4 things. A, what is this periodical labor force survey and the basic definition that you should be aware of, that what are the basic definitions that you read in routine classes. You need to know what is annual survey of industries are saying, and by and large, employment in India has gone up in terms of supply also, has gone up in terms of you can say demand also. If demand side employment is increasing, that means now actual genuine employment is being created. So this proves that how self-employed has increased, salaries, salaried, and formalization of employment is taking place. Formalization of employment simply means that more and more people are getting registered with pension offices. I hope you are knowing this OPS versus NPS debate. What is this old pension versus scheme? And if more and more people are getting registered for pensions, it makes old pension schemes even more dangerous. Because in old pension scheme, as you know that the exchequer on the government will be very high. Those who are not knowing, I would say at least few things you should remember. There is one thing called old pension scheme that was all there for the government of central and state governments. Those were central and state government employees. For them, we had a scheme called OPS. So what was in OPS? That whatever your last salary was, 50% of that will be given as your pension. So whatever last salary you receive, 50% of that will be given as pension. That was old pension scheme. However, in 1998, year was 1998, a committee was made called Dave Committee. Dave Committee was given the task that pensions are for government people only. What about informal sector? Please understand the rationale why I'm saying this question might be asked. Dave Committee was given this task to identify what we can do for informal sector. Formal sector, though, they have pensions. Dave Committee recommended one thing, said that anyone can get registered with the pension department, right? Whatever their salary is, 10% they will provide, some amount government will provide, and this way a fund is created. So let's say this month, my salary is 10%, I will provide, some amount will be provided by government, and this combination of fund will be managed by a third fund manager. And that fund manager will invest into various options, government securities, stock market, and so, and will create some more profit from that. Even government can take loan directly. You might have read in your fiscal deficit financing that government take direct loan from this also. So government can loan from this, and over the year, whatever amount is accumulated in your account, 60% of that will be given at the time of retirement. It will not be taxed, and rest of the amount will be given as pension and will be taxed. So it created a sustainable situation. Government liked this project, though it was initially for informal sector, but then government 2004 said it will be for everyone. Whosoever want can go for it. Please, this is the catch. New pension scheme is for everyone, not only for government employees. It is for everyone, anyone can apply for. 10% of your salary will go, 10% government will give, which was increased to 14% in 2018-19. Now 10% of your salary and 14% of your salary will be given by government. This will be managed by one agency called PFRDA, and PFRDA whatever fund is managed, whatever the returns are, that will be given 60% at the time of retirement without any tax, and rest 40% will be taxed and will be given as annual installments. That's how you get your monthly pension. The idea was good. So 2020, 2004 onwards, we got it. Now some states are saying that they will go back to. Let me give you a quick example to make it clearer. Brazil is one of the countries is still following that 50% formula. In Brazil, whatever their GDP is, almost 13% go on tax expenditure. Government of India's situation is little worrisome. We have 54,000 central government employees and 54 lakh central government employees and 58 lakh central government pensioners. Now imagine how much money will go. And our tax to GDP ratio is close to 11-12%, where we will stand. So obviously for political reasons, anyone can say anything. Even Rajasthan is knowing if they are going with the old pension scheme, 56% of their tax revenue will be spent on this. Not sustainable. In this case, if EPFO role is increasing, that clearly proves somewhere there's acceptance of this new formula too. And it is something which is benefiting, and people want to have those kind of, and the way committee recommendation was later on used even in Atal pension scheme. The same thing happens there also. Some amount you give, some amount government give, and that's how the time of retirement you get the amount. So this is how we got this idea, and here clearly it has been found that India's employment is on the surge. Both on the demand side and supply side, both documents are proving it. Even periodical labor force survey is saying we are doing good in both the parameters, that is rural and urban and male and female. And even supply side is saying that more and more jobs are being created, and the maximum job creation is in food processing industry. I hope I'm making sense, because again, I know, ऐसा तो नहीं कि direct listening की वजह से थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही हो. All right, because I understand कि, look, if you're listening carefully, job is done. और इतनी आदत तो डालनी पड़ेगी अब, है ना? You're going for examination, 2 घंटे तो focus रहना पड़ेगा. If you cannot stay focused for 2 hours, something you will miss in the examination. So look, so this way we got this idea of, but here comes the point which I think could be significant for mains perspective. But I think they may ask it in paper 1. Paper 1. While talking about employment, economic survey has given us an advice. And the advice is, you know what? I often say jokingly in the class, those who are from the class, they can recall, there's one economist called Samuelson. Samuelson often used to say, ye acha mazak hai boss, this is a joke. If someone marry the maid, GDP will go down. Because if the lady is working as maid, it will be calculated in GDP, and if she is wife, this will be household chores are not calculated. So if someone marries the maid, GDP will go down. Now, this is interesting. Now, a note has been taken on that. It has been said that we need better quantification of the work definition. Work definition need to be revitalized. This is a special reference, again I'll say from mains perspective, very important. Maybe asked in paper 1, that informalization of the labor for female are creating challenges or something like that. Now this is where you got a good catch. As the economic survey this shows, you have said the copy checker, please take my copy seriously. So that's the benefit of a good introduction, that you say the fellow that take my copy seriously. So, now if you see this way, they had said it, and we have given this idea also that measurement issues in female labor force participation rate. There are many things, many work done by female, which is more of casual type work, maybe household chores, and even there is a rising industry called, what is called pink economy. I'm sure you have heard of it. Pink work, we call it. Care economy is another term for it. And care economy is taking care of the elderly, taking care of the orphans, taking care of other, paid taking care. All these kind of things has to be now inserted in your work definition. Your work definition is still very old-fashioned. So personally, I love this box, in the economic survey, though here we have cut it short, but in the original document, it runs almost half a page, which says that why we need to change our measurement. here we have highlighted, you can take the note of it. The survey thus recommends for a wholesale measurement of work and improved quantification through redesigned surveys. We need better mechanism to identify the female work participation. There are many works they are doing which is as good as work which we are calculating in males but not in females. Irony of the fact is, the same work done by male is calculated, the same work done by female is not calculated because of our conventional ways of surveying. So economic survey has given, now these kind of things they ask in mails. Because again, if you have not read the document, if you have the logic, you can say that. That's how they make a kind of equalizer in your mains paper. Even if you have not read economic survey, and if you use your brain, macroeconomics, class 12th book also highlights this part, that why this kind of formulation is, but this time they had given a detailed account that time has come to redesign our surveying method in the periodical labor force survey, particularly considering women work. Various women work are not considered here as a paid work. So that's how we got this thing. In fact, they have also taken a note of self-help group. Now, I don't know how they will ask. I don't know how they will ask, but I don't think UPSC will be this indifferent that Ilab has passed away and nothing is asked from self-help group. This was reflected even in the economic survey. That is the stature of Ilab. Those who are not knowing, Ilab is known for that SEWA, Self-Employed Women Association, one of the biggest self-help group which has changed the fate of more than 10 lakh women. In fact, those who are from Gujarat might be knowing that how we got various SEWA centers also. In fact, those who are from Kerala might be knowing Kutumbushri. There are many such examples of self-help groups, clearly indicating that in India we have almost 1.2 lakh self-help group, and 88% of them are female-led. 88% of them clearly indicates that how self-help group is in a way developing the story of gender empowerment. So economic survey is talking about that self-help groups are also contributing a lot, and we should try to focus that how these self-help groups could be further strengthened. How they could be further strengthened. The concept of self-help group, if you see, in India, is almost similar timeline is there, almost parallel to what was done in Bangladesh by Muhammad Yunus. When Muhammad Yunus made the Grameen Bank, I'm sure you are aware of Muhammad Yunus, the very important development. Muhammad Yunus Grameen Bank, almost the same time in India we got SEWA. So SEWA was introduced in 1972. Economic survey is taking a note. Again, I'll say ये PT के लिए बहुत important हो सकता है, क्योंकि when SEWA was started, and they may not ask directly Ilahabat, but you should be aware of that how it is, and was a very important development which was there. And NABARD also provides what is called bank link program. Bank link program to SEWA, where these self-help groups, they can also take loan from with the help of NABARD through RRBs and other centers. We have our rural cooperatives, we have urban cooperatives, we have RRBs. They provide loan to these self-help groups. That is called self-help group bank linking program. In fact, not a surprise when if this SEWA has completed 50 years, the question has been, so it's very natural that, SEWA, and again, the death of Ilahabat has raised this concern that self-help group should be. A few statistics given by economic survey, as I've just told you, 1.2 crore self-help groups are there in India, and 88% of them are female. Even in males, this could be useful when you are talking about something in related to self-help group. So this is how we got role of self-help group in women empowerment. We have talked about it. When NABARD introduced this bank link program, they had said that there are few things which these self-help groups should maintain. So I hope you're understanding self-help group. People are coming together with a win-win situation. They are pooling their resources and creating some job opportunities. That is called self-help group. Self-help group could be even male and female or combination of male and female, but largely self-help groups are female dominated. As you know, 88% of them are there. And when the loan is provided, let me tell you quick reference that when the loan is provided as per Panchayati Raj Ministry, whatever self-help group project is, up to 90% of that can be given as loan. Up to 90% of that can be given as loan. And if they are repaying it properly, if they are maintaining record, If they are collecting resources better, then they could be further, their limit could be further increased. This is what is highlighted here. We call it Panch Sutra. In fact, this is something which is very good. I love this part now in India, that we are also popularizing our traditional words, because they have given us a lot of Latin word and we are remembering it. You know, sine qua non, and you know, agras ante and all that. In fact, I'm not kidding. I got at least a dozen of mail from European friends. What is this Panchamrit in the budget? They were not, I said, this is a good revenge. You know, this is a good revenge. Now, I told them that Panchamrit is something when we are saying net zero by 2070. So, you know, we will work on everything, water, you know, air and all these elements of earth. That's how we got. So I think more such words are needed. It's a perfect revenge for whatever they have done to us. We are remembering so many Latin phrases, remember in your childhood days. So if you see this way, and please, this is the part of your 5 promises to yourself to make developed country, to overcome to this colonial mindset, overcome to this colonial hangover, I should say. Time has come that you should overcome to it. English is a franca lingua, there's nothing wrong into it, but it should not be more than a language. It should not be treated as more than a language. So this is something which we are trying to give, like we have called not millet, we call it Sri Anna. And the reference of Sri Anna is there in the in Tamil literature. Thiruvallur has talked about it already. So I might not be pronouncing it rightly. Those are from Tamil Nadu, please forgive me. My pronunciation might not be good. But Thiruvallur has written about it way back. This is Sri Anna. We know about it. So, and it is very nutritious, can be grown into water constraint also. So considering all these things, you should be aware of what is this Panch Sutra. Panch Sutra in self-help group is that they should be disciplined in terms of regular meeting, regular saving, regular taking resources together, and timely repayments. Some of the self-help group example has been given. Patrakar Didis of Jharkhand, they are giving information about what is called, what is going on in the current scenario and all these kind of things. Prerna Kantis in Uttar Pradesh for the community kitchens. Pashu Sakshi for animal health care. Ajivika Farm First Line from Jharkhand. In fact, many more are there. If you see in Madhya Pradesh, we have Bahini Darbar. There are many of them self-help groups. I don't have time, otherwise I could have told you that who was going to believe it that a self-help group which was led by a female and that too widow has created jobs for thousands of the females in Maharashtra. And that too by cutting vegetables and packaging it. So there are many such self-help group stories. In fact, time has come that we should be bringing into the main discussion. Thankfully, Economic Survey has talked about it. So we have various self-help groups. In your own area, you might be having 1 or 2. In fact, the most touching example I have is from Bihar. That is called Gullak Bank. Gullak Bank, it was made by kids. Kids, they have learned somewhere about this, that how we can create a source. The school-going kids created a source. They collected their pocket money, created a source, and started giving loans to the neighboring people. Getting benefit from that. Today, Gullak Bank has more than 75 lakh rupees as their principal amount. RBI is now going to introduce it as a token of what is called microfinance. Knowledge is, boss, knowledge without usage is nothing but a luxury. And unfortunately, many of us fall into that category. If we cannot use the knowledge, it's of no use. It's sheer waste of time if it is not converting into applications. So this is how, there are various self-help groups clearly proving that how India's story of female empowerment is on the surge, but Economic Survey is absolutely right that work definition needs to be little female-centric also now. Many of the jobs, many of the works, and that's why their proportion of unemployment may look bigger. So that is how they have talked about unemployment. One thing which you should be aware of, I hope you're knowing that to create employment from 2015, we have a separate ministry that is called Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. This ministry was created with the objective, 2 major objectives. A, to create jobs on short term and long term, and second, to make them future ready by understanding what could be like. If you say India, this is the point. I was just saying, please forgive if I'm transcending my limits. But I don't know how many of you even thought to take a look on the other side of the road called NSDC. This is where you are not even thinking of. This is earmarking the employment opportunities of thousands of the students across the country. कभी सोचा जरा देखें क्या काम करते हैं? They are under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. This is where knowledge is application. I've seen students even don't, acha, yahan kahan is it? You know the nearby pub and bar, with due respect, but not this. This is something clearly telling us where we are focusing upon. I'm not against, obviously, being a young you, that's perfectly all right, knowing that destination too. But you know, knowing this NSDC could be equally important, if not more. Could be equally important. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to create skill development which is future ready. ये पूछा जा सकता है for one reason. Let me tell you first the reason. As globally, one very good development has happened in WTO, you might have heard of it, that is called in services. From Singapore round of WTO, we are talking about one thing called services reforms. And in 2021 at Geneva, we got it. And that is called Services Domestic Regulation, where Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3, Mode 4 kind of services are now allowed across 67 countries. India is one of them. You have read about WTO in your classes that, you know, about Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3, Mode 4. These are types of services. Mode 1 is when you are in your country and service provided in their country and you're providing services. Mode 2 is tourism, when the service recipient is coming in your country. Mode 3 is when you, service provider, is going with a commercial presence. Mode 4 is international labor movement. Now, Mode 4 is something which is a game changer for India. Listen to me very carefully. International labor movement is now allowed. So now it's possible that any of the university of, let's say, Europe is saying that, sir, come and teach economic survey for 2 days. Maybe that itself is good proof for visa on arrival. Now this is possible. That is why we are creating our skill in such a way which it needs no further accreditation globally. So we are trying to develop that kind of curriculum which is globally accepted. Globally accepted. This is very important development, though may not look that important from the news perspective. Because this is going to cater huge population of India where they can get the skill which will be accepted globally. For this entire, we have a center that is called National Career Services Project. It is a one-stop solution for employment and career-related services. 2.8 crore job seekers, 6.8 lakh employers are already registered on this portal. That is called National Career Services Project. In fact, even remotely connected, if you're talking about employment, this can be referred to. In your answers, you can write about it. What is advantages? It has already have what is called, like, let's say you might be knowing that, what do you think, why this Prime Minister of Japan is visiting? There is something which is going globally, friendshoring. Friendshoring, you might have heard of it, friendshoring, that we are shifting to our friends. Samsung, LG, they are going big in India. And what is going to happen now, with the help of this disease suction program, we will get the data, how many of them are seeking employment. We will share this data with Samsung, LG and these kind of, and they will provide the training as per their requirement. Sectoral training will be there. And then they will provide the job also. And once you gain the experience, obviously you can switch over the jobs. This is something which is possible with disease suction program, which we are focusing upon tailor-made skills. Now, here is the catch which we have added now. That is called International Job Module. So, as I was telling you this example, that now what we are doing is, we are making curriculum in such a way so that whenever they go in any part of the world, they need not to give any further examination. Our certificates are good enough to be approved automatically. And once it is being done, then our youngsters can seek the job in any nook and corner of the world as per the agreements of the countries. So this is something which definitely may come very handy to our youngsters. That's why I jokingly says in the class often, if those who can recall that, आपकी population policy क्या है? हम दो हमारे दो और कुछ नहीं कर सकते तो एक काम तो कर ही दो. हम दो हमारे दो बाकी को बाहर भेज दो. So that at least can be done. So this is the new approach we are having, and there's nothing wrong into it. We have the human, yes, the population can be humans capital also, if you take it that way. This population could be human capital if going in the right direction. So this is what we are talking about it. However, a special note has been taken what is going on in the rural India. In the rural India, what is going on, because we have seen that, if you know that almost 65% of the population of India resides in villages. Though as per census it will be 68%, but now it is 60, because you might be knowing that along with the census, we get a yearly data also. That is called SR registration. In that, it is now 65%. So 65% of the population still reside in villages. For villages, we need to rehaul their infrastructure. To make proper roads, we have PMGSY, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. You might be knowing that in the villages, we have already one very important initiative given by Professor Kalam, that is called providing urban facilities in rural areas. Pura is there already. We are working on safe drinking water with the help of Har Ghar Nal under Jal Shakti Mantralaya. So there is Ministry of Jal Shakti, which is now convergence of various ministry, and Namami Gange, Jal Shakti, all these things has been interlinked now. So we are ensuring that every household get what is called water from tap, which is safe drinking water. Sanitation, we are already into Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0, where we are talking about ODF plus. So this is not only open defecation free, but also the urination should be in the closed walls along with other facilities of CPS clearances. So all these things are being done to make sure that our villages are smart villages along with the job opportunities. So if you see that even in the rural areas, we have seen that nominal rural wages have increased on a positive rate. Rural employment has increased. And good news is that even the demand of Manrega has gone down. The demand of states for Manrega has gone down. That means they are shifting from manual work to other works. Manrega is manual work. So if they are shifting from Manrega to other work, that clearly signifies, and please understand this point, government has clarified this. Rest your political outlook, because obviously if you have a different political outlook, you may not buy the concept. But we have reduced the budget of Manrega, not on any political rivalry. The government has reduced the budget because we can see the demand are lesser created, A. And second, we want skilled labor now, and that's why the money is used in Jal Jeevan Mission. So the amount of Jal Jeevan Mission has been increased in the same proportion. And this clarification, Finance Minister herself has given, and then later on even officially government has provided, that it should not be considered that we are against Manrega. We are ensuring that more skilled labor is being created. So this is how we got, overall you can say that the nominal rural wages has increased. So not only employment is increasing, listen to me very carefully. Not only employment is increasing, but even their payments are also increasing. But the sad story is, even if their payments are increasing, due to inflation, the real wages are negative. Real wages are adjusted with inflation. So due to inflation, the real wages are negative. This is where we need to work upon. Now this takes me to something else, which I think might be asked. I'm not saying will be asked, might be asked. You know that we have changed dearness allowance for employees. And you should be aware of that dearness allowances are changed on CPI industrial worker. The base year is now 2015-16. So CPI industrial worker is used for dearness allowance. If we have increased the dearness allowance in the urban areas for government employees and state employees, naturally now we have to think of the rural wages to be revised. Rural wages to be revised, and that could be done with one thing in which we have already got in PM Asha. So the point is, look, that's why I told you economic survey is a pure academic document. They are accepting it that nominal wages has increased, but they're also accepting it that the real wages in the rural area has gone down due to inflation. So some advice might be there to make sure that we are creating enough of facilities so that even in the rural areas, whatever their payments are increasing. Now, then they had said even education. Education, in education we have a very important document given by United Nations, which is the basic document for all education assessment. And that is called Gross Enrollment Ratio, GER. Now, what is GER data? Anyone? What is this GER data? Any idea? It simply means, let me give an example, practical example. So 6 to 14 age group is for primary schooling. 6 to 14 is for primary schooling. So how much is the population of 6 to 14 age group? That will be in denomination. How much is the students in primary school? That will be on the upper side. So if you see that it will be student enrolled in primary classes divided by population of 6 to 14 multiplied by 100. Now the data could be even more than 100. The percentage could be more than 100. How it's possible? Maybe because some students 15, 16 years is still in primary class. Maybe some student less than 6 years is still in primary classes. And that's why data more than 100 is something which provides a very good idea. कुछ लोग fail भी होते हैं sir. No, so आपस में बात कर रहे हैं ऐसे कैसे कुछ लोग fail भी होते हैं. Don't forget that part. So if someone is failing or for any reason started late, so they are also there. If someone is 16-year-old and in class 5, will be considered there only. So that is how when we say gross enrollment ratio is something which is a key document to identify that what is the situation of education. In India, if you see, GR is continuously improving across the board. अच्छा ये data आता कहाँ से है? That data is given from district level assessment. That is called UDIS data. In fact, when you become district magistrate, this is a very key data for you. That is called Unified District Information System of Education. UDIS. Now it's UDIS Plus. So UDIS Plus is something. UDIS Plus is where the data is completely digital. So now all the data are completely digital. That is unified data for information system on education. This gives the data of GER. Even the primary data is more than 100 now, 103. Clearly indicating that how school enrollments are there. Though it is not the hallmark of the quality. Economic survey talks about it. It says, if you read the original document, that says, it says the enrollment has increased. It is not guaranteeing the quality of education has improved. As we are talking about what? Quality education. Under which SDG? Education comes into 4. SDG should be, I told you several times in the classes, ki SDG to bilkul aag bone ke bhi yaad rehna chahiye. First is no zero poverty, second is zero hunger, third is health and well-being, fourth is what is called quality education, fifth is gender equality, sixth is safe drinking water sanitation, seventh is affordable and clean energy, eighth is economic work, decent job, ninth is what is called infrastructure innovation, 10th is reducing inequality, 11th is sustainable cities and communities, 12th is meaningful reduction and production, 13 is climate change, 14 is life underwater, 15 is life on earth, 16 is peace, justice and international cooperation, and 17 is international cooperation. That should be clubbed in your mind. Because look, while writing in mains, this should be properly clubbed. Any question, the good start is SDG. As we know that most of the policies are now lined up with the SDG. So considering that fact, if you see that GER, that is gross enrollment ratio, has improved, but that does not mean the quality education has improved. And that is why I told you PM Shri is something which we are focusing upon. So here all these things are given, and can you see that here we had taken a quick look on this also. PM School for Rising India, that is PM Shri. Data is given here. 14,500 schools will be developed, that are government schools. In fact, you can write the budget also somewhere here. It is going to be 28,000 crore rupees budget for it. Then I think Government of India is going to spend almost 18,000 crore, rest the states will spend. Bal Vatika has been introduced. I was listening to Dharmendra Pradhan the other day, the concerned minister. He was saying that how we have introduced Bal Vatika. Bal Vatika is what? In Bal Vatika, especially in this Kendriya Vidyalaya, it's a preschool kind of thing, what you call kindergarten, right? So kindergartens has been introduced now. So KGs, jisko what you call in your short form, kindergartens. Even Anganwadi is different. Anganwadi is for overall health care of females and kids. Kindergartens will be in the school premises. In fact, let me tell you one more thing. Here only, you should be knowing Bal Vatika is what? A kind of KG in schools where the toys and these kind of pedagogy will be used. And please, as she is saying rightly, midday meals name has been changed. And midday meal's new name is PM Poshan. So the objective of Bal Vatika is not that they should be going to the school. The objective of Bal Vatika is that from early age they get nutritious food. So PM Poshan, where we are ensuring even the kids which are not at the age of 6 should also will be receiving good nutrition. That is the objective, and that's why Bal Vatika has been introduced. And needless to say, it will be further added in PM Shri also. Then we have what is called screening tool for specific learning disabilities, that is there. Prashast, what we call it, Prashast is well up to the mark. So Prashast is something which has been again, it's a screening mobile app to identify if there is any challenge in learning processes and all. STARS is something which is again centrally sponsored scheme for better training of the teachers. It's an initiative, as you can say, teaching, learning and result for states. That's STAR. STAR, and there's one thing on the similar nature when we are trying to provide district level training to teachers. Because very important that teachers should be trained. Understand, teaching itself is an art. And teacher need to be little, you can say, affectionate to the kids, understanding the requirement. Not mere knowledge will suffice. That's why teachers' training is something which is very important. Now we have understood, and before COVID, we were having very big plan. Unfortunately, that could not turn up. The plan was that at district level, primary teachers will be trained. We were going to call it NISTHA. NISTHA, it was going to be one of the very important programs, but then COVID got ahead, and then NISTHA is now digital. This is called, now we are in NISTHA 2.0. So STAR and NISTHA is initiative to improve quality of teachers also in the schools, that they are at par and so. So this is how they are, and then Vidyanjali is something where we are asking private sector, corporate sector to come and participate in. Anjali is a kind of donation. So, Vidyanjali is when we are asking, voluntary groups, even ITNs are going there now, and teaching the kids, and they are training also that who can provide basic facilities. So ITNs, what they are doing, they are identifying a few youngsters from the village who can teach the kids, they are teaching them. And this way a proper chain is being created. This is Vidyanjali. So we are trying to make sure, I think time has come when India should come with the slogan, each one should teach one. These kind of, because youngsters, if start thinking this way, it could be a game changer. And with the, these kind of Zoom meetings and WhatsApp calls, it is not that difficult either, if we promote it as a part of the curriculum. So, these kind of things are also there, where we are asking corporate people to come and participate into it. We are asking, the volunteers, the student groups to come and participate into it. Higher education is also, if you see, by and large, number of medical colleges have increased. I don't know whether they will or not, because it might be a bit technical. But I'm sure you're aware of that recently Minister concerned has requested big medical premises also to develop medical colleges. Because obviously these big hospitals, they have already almost required raw, you can say, infrastructure. Maybe a couple of more rooms and laboratories will suffice. So we are requesting them, and 10 of them have shown interest, including the big one that is, in Bombay, Nanavati or something is the name. So Nanavati Hospital or something. Many of them are now coming forward. They are saying that yes, we can do that, because we need our our medical students requirement and the way things has happened in the Ukraine. Remember that how our kids were fighting to come back. That clearly proves that probably medical education is expensive in India. Back home, our doctor patient ratio is also not good. Abhijit Banerjee, you might be knowing, a Nobel laureate, wrote a paper on it from Jodhpur. He did this study and found this very surprising, that our hospitals are overcrowded and understaffed. He used the term overcrowded and understaffed. In fact, unfortunately, in medical sciences, we have a very surprising contrast. Either they're MBBS or they're quacks. That's the problem. And quacks are huge in number in India. You cannot deny their existence. Quacks, you understand? Jhola chap doctor, what we call. So, so there are, MBBS, and then there were, more than 70% of the cases do not require expertise of MBBS caliber. Something of the quasi nature of 1 or 2 years should be developed so that they can serve in the village area also. It should be something kind quasi MBBS kind of thing, something lesser than MBBS, but giving basic of MBBS, maybe not good for operations and these kind of things, but can take care of OPD cases. Otherwise, this problem will continue, that they will go and ask, medical store fellow ki iske liye dawa de dijiye and all these kind of things. That is leading another problem in India called antibiotic resistance, which is another challenge we are facing now. So considering all these things, it is important that we need more medical colleges. Government is taking very seriously this, and we are going to increase further colleges. It has been already increased, if you see, almost doubled in the last 7-8 years. Almost doubled. But this still is not good enough. We have to further work upon it. In fact, universities have increased, IITs and IIMs are increasing. That is another good thing. Now, if you see that GER, as I told you, has increased even higher level, and quality research, because India need to work upon more innovation. The good news is that India has jumped into innovation index. Anyone which is the current rank of innovation index, India's position? It's 40 now, 40. So now India has marched on in India Innovation Index, International Innovation Index, what is called Global Innovation Index. We are at 40th position now, 40. This positioning clearly signifies one thing. This positioning tells us that India has the scope for innovation. And innovation is something which is the key driver for any economy. Do you know what is the economy of US? Do you know what is the economy of UK? Most of them are thriving on what? Innovations only. That is called copyrights, IPRs. So they are largely on IPRs. Their economy is IPR based. India is now focusing upon this IPR, and we have the room for it. India has the room for IPR. So good news is that quality research has improved. In fact, anyone from IT might be knowing, let me give a practical example to make it clear that why it has happening and what were the challenge. If government is allocating the money to IIT or IIMs or any research institute, that would not be good enough. Because how government can give? How much? Maybe 100 crore? Maybe 150 crore? That's not good enough. So what we are saying is raise your funds. Take loan, and the loan will be almost interest free. Almost very less subsidized rate of interest. Take loan from various sources and use it to create your IPR. Commercialize that IPR. Like, let me give you a practical example. CSIR has commercialized now many of the medicines. You might be knowing one center in Lucknow, CDRI, Central Drug Research Institute, has recently got patent. So there are various such things. So now when we have increased the fund, they can raise fund from the market, take loan, create IPR, get commercialized and earn from there. So this is what IITs and big institutes are now doing. And this agency is called Higher Education Funding Agency, led by Canara Bank. So Canara Bank is funding, this is called HEFA, Higher Education Funding Agency. So now IITs are not seeking government's budget, which is very meager. They can take loan, they can raise their own debentures in the market, and with the help of these debentures, they raise fund. So this way we got, I hope you're understanding debentures, a kind of loan taken by the private players. So that's how we got, when we say in education also how we are doing, and Ministry of Skill Development Enterprise, I've already told you that how it was there, and Skill India is Now here we had given some example. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. I have been doing in budget. We got now Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0. Now 4.0 is operational from this year's budget. So 3.0 is completed. For skill development, we are working into this. Then Jan Shikshan Sansthan scheme is there to provide, particularly in tribal areas. Tribal areas, in fact, Ekla Vidyalaya has been increased in tribal areas. And National Apprenticeship Promotion is for vocational training. Craftsman training scheme is again, because India's textile sector has very promising prospects if we are working on that. So craftsman training scheme is also, there is a short-term scheme by the Ministry of Skill Development. And then, making India a skill capital of the world, this is our objective as per Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. I think these are the routine schemes, so not that significant, but yes, you should take care of at least Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana 4.0. That is something which is there now. And Sankalp is something which is ending in this year, 2023, with the help of World Bank. There are three major schemes: Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Sankalp, and Strive. Strive is also with the help of World Bank, that is ending this year. So Sankalp is another thing where we are trying to ensure that at district level, skill committees are there, and as per requirement of the local area, skills are being facilitated. I hope it is not bombardment. Is it? All right, because you are still not slept, so I'm assuming that you're listening. So it's 1.5 hour now. I'm saying again, trust me, if you're understanding the concept behind it, in the questions and elimination, it helps. Maybe you are not knowing the fact. Maybe you're not sure about the fact. But if you know what is the philosophy behind it, why it has been done, probably that will help you. So considering this, once we have done the chapter, and at home, if you are having a quick revision, it won't take more than, say, 15-20 minutes or maybe half an hour, depending upon your focus. So, if you read this document, the job will be done by and large. Now here, they had given also a quick reference what is being done for health across the years from 2014 onwards. 2014, why? Because, a new government came. So they are tracking from there. So 2017 was an important year when we got what is called National Health Policy. Why I'm saying so? Because I'm sure you're aware of it. A few states are talking about right to health now. A few states have started a debate that why not Article 21B? 21A, right to education, 21B will be right to health. So National Health Policy 2017 does not talk about right to health, but says accessible health to all. So this is an important development. In fact, we have one thing called Suman initiative, e-Sanjeevani's telemedicine facility. And then by 2025, India is going to be what is called free from tuberculosis. That is what TB Harega Bharat Jeetega is the caption for it by 2025. Again, tuberculosis, don't forget the dots. We have re-intensified it. That is called direct observatory treatment services for treatment of the tuberculosis. So we are working into these things. So a quick reference has been given. Ayushman Bharat, is an important initiative with two objectives. One is what is called health insurances, and second is developing health centers, health and wellness centers. So by and large, if you see, COVID vaccination program, CoWIN, and all these kind of things. One thing I would like to add here, and listen to me for this very carefully, which I think could be important because it is first of its kind. For the first time, RBI has released a document that what is the status of 201 municipal corporation finance across the country. 74th Constitutional Amendment, 73rd, 74th Constitutional Amendment, which promotes local bodies and Panchayati Raj. If I take a special note of 74th Amendment, and if you read 243 X and Y of your Constitution, the Part 9 of the Constitution, that empowers municipal bodies to create their fund. There are some odd 18 items which has to be transferred to the municipal bodies and corporations, but yet not being transferred by the state. Now, You must be wondering how come as a student of economics is knowing this. Because 15th Finance Commission has given a special chapter on it. And the title was Grant in Aid for Local Bodies. N.K. Singh, who headed 15th Finance Commission, was talking about it that we need to empower our local bodies. And for that, special grants for health, education, etc. has been given to local bodies. The amount is not significant for you, but it is decent one, almost close to 2 lakh crore rupees, along with the what is called revenue deficit grant. You might have heard there's one thing called post-devolution revenue deficit grant, which has been given to 17 states, and the amount is almost 2.83 lakh crore rupees. Now, I'm again saying data is not important for you. What is important is the idea. So across 201 cities, this number might be significant, because 201 cities we have municipal corporations, while other may have municipalities and councils. So municipal corporations, which are relatively bigger, they are fighting for the funds. Finance Commission has granted them the funds. But the worry is that state are channelizing the fund somewhere else. The fund has been given to them, but the states are channelizing this fund somewhere else. And that's why 15th Finance Commission has highlighted that we need to work upon it, and these municipal corporation has to be strengthened. Anyone from Pune or near Pune might be knowing there is one municipal corporation, Pimpri Chinchwad, doing wonderful work, because they could create their own. Lucknow has come with their own municipal bond. So now we are trying to promote these kind of things, that local self-governance should be promoted. Economic survey has highlighted that part, and look, we are continuously working upon that, how health infrastructure at district level, because districts may have their own specific requirements. Each of the district might have there could be epidemics into particular area. There could be outbreak of certain disease at frequent intervals. So for all that, like if you're knowing anyone from Gorakhpur might be knowing that Gorakhpur Municipal Corporation has now developed a special fund for Japanese encephalitis. That was needed because the entire Sivalik range suffers with this disease. So that would be possible only when you're funding these municipal corporations. They should be empowered instead of they looking at the state, ki saab paisa de do, hame hospital banana hai. So, and if you are a political man, it's a way to bypass the state government to reach directly. So there are no free lunches on this earth. So it may be a way to bypass directly going to the local bodies through the Finance Commission instead of going via state. That's why states are opposing it also. But then even as per your 74th Amendment, at least those items should be handed over to them. Considering this, you should be taking a note of it, that how we are continuously working upon development of municipal corporation and local bodies for health infrastructure from 2021 as per the 15th Finance Commission report. Then Ayushman Bharat is there, Poshan Abhiyan is there, Anemia Mukt Bharat strategy. In fact, this year budget has talked about it again. So take a note of it, that Anemia Mukt Bharat strategy is something which is our priority, because unfortunately, though on certain parameters like stunting, wasting, we are improving. India's situation in stunting and wasting is improving. Stunting is that situation where your height as per your age is not at par. Wasting is that situation where your weight as per your height is not at par. In that, one problematic thing is there as per the Global Nutrition Report 2021-22, that India is facing problem in anemia. Females are anemic, kids are suffering with anemia. So we need special attention on this, and that's why we are talking about this Anemia Mukt Bharat strategy. And then, even dialysis program has been, brought into this. I have known that stunting has been now capped, that the pricing of this, medical treatment should not be higher than a particular level. So these things are being done. Again, it's a routine development, but they have put at one place, that these are the major schemes which are there for sake of health. Similarly, if you see that, in the rural healthcare system, how we are developing CHC, how primary health centers are there, sub-centers are there. Those who are not knowing, at the very village level, we may have sub-centers. Then we have what is called primary health centers. Then at block level, we have CHC. Then at district level, we have district hospitals. Then we have multi-specialty hospitals. I think the roof has come. All right. So this is how, this is how it works. Now, this is called the triangle of, please listen to me carefully. This is the triangle of the health, the standard triangle. Look at me again. Your sub-center should be more than PHC. PHC should be more than CHC. CHC should be more than district hospitals. District hospitals should be more than multi-specialty hospitals. But in our case, it is other way around. Multi-specialty hospitals are more, district hospitals are lesser, PHCs are even lesser. That's why PM Ayushman says we have to develop PHCs, primary health centers. And this is again the idea given by Abhijit Banerjee when he was talking about that where India's healthcare should go. He said pyramid has to be upright. It is inverted as of now. So considering all this, it is important and we are developing. So a record has been provided. Now, it is not significant from exam point of view. Why? Because here economic survey is probably answering academicians talking to academicians. Answering ki sir aap keh rahe ho aisa hai, humne aisa kiya hai. So we are improving what on your suggestions. So because obviously these people also refer to each other on whatever going on. So economic survey is trying to give a clarification to the world that we have taken a note of it and we are developing our PHCs at a faster pace. So sub-centers and PHCs has been developed, no doubt about it. In fact, good part is that as per National Family Health Survey 5, almost all indicators we are doing good. So household cover under health insurance has increased, total fertility rate has gone down. Now it is less than even 2.1, which is called replacement level fertility rate. So it's less than 1, that means India's population is now on declining trend. So that is there. Institutional birth, this is why, which I'm a bit surprised also. Institutional deliveries in India has increased to 88%. Our target was 80%. So we have done good here. That means institutional delivery is there now. We are providing necessary facilities. Neonatal mortality rate has gone down. Infant mortality rate. Neonatal mortality rate is for first 4 weeks. Infant mortality rate is for 1 year. Children under 5 years, that has also gone stunting, wasting and all. Underweight has gone down, but overweight has increased. That is something which is, this is called food swamp. Food swamp. Amar Sen used a term for it, please don't get angry, but he said this generation is now pizzatarian generation. I think Amar Sen should come to Karol Bagh. I would look to call them Maggitarian generation. So that's the new term. Not even Maggie. All right. It's fine. So now this is something which is important data. And please listen to me carefully, maybe in mains, not in prelims, but as you know, the debate is on the anvil about the menstrual leaves. Why it was needed? Because it was also an attempt to create awareness regarding this. But Honorable Supreme Court had said it is not in our jurisdiction, let the center decide it, whether it should be or not. And people are there on both the sides in favor and against. Probably I'm not the right person to comment here because it is in public domain and let the people decide. But one thing which we have added as one of the parameters, that how many of adolescent girls and women out there are aware of the menstrual hygiene, particularly during the menstrual cycle. Why it is needed? Because unfortunately, in India, as per the Lancet report, out of 3, 1 girl is suffering with what is called hysterical symptoms, which is because they are unaware of the menstrual hygiene and the calcium iron intakes accordingly. I know that this is a bit unfortunate that in a country like India, we are a little shy to talk about it. This is where the problem is. In fact, I might have, this is something which we need to change into our curriculum also. Because, this is important. Why? Because, look, it concerns to the overall health of the society. Not only to the female, not only to the kids, even overall health of the society. So considering this, it is important that we should take care of the adolescent health, we should take care of the health of the pregnant women, and even lactating mothers. Because India is also not doing that good in that parameter and the health of the lactating mothers. So considering all these, we are working on these things, and the good part is that even that's why we have gone a special scheme for lactating mothers. We are providing, and the worst part is that people are not aware of it. I was really surprised and feeling ashamed, and I mean it when I'm saying ashamed, that in the gender budgeting we came across that there are airports where you have a smoking room but don't have room for lactating mothers. That proves that how our priorities are set. You have smoking rooms, but not a separate place for respectfully lactating of the mother. That clearly indicates that we need to work upon a few things. We need to work upon a few things, and not only that, even when these things happen, let's say hysteria and all that, you don't understand it is about the health of the lady. You may think that something, bad eyes and those kind of bitches broom and all that you're doing. So we need to create awareness about it, and that may come with the curriculum. And not only males and females only, even males should be aware of it. Because, the problem in India's gender empowerment, one of the greatest impediment in the gender empowerment in India is, and I'm sure you will be surprised to know this, as per the United Nations, the greatest impediment in the gender empowerment in India is voyeurism. Ghurna jisko bolte hai. That's why I said, because that creates a kind of insecurity, and that makes a vicious trap that they are not going to the schools. You might have read the story from Punjab now, that how it was difficult for those girls to go to school. Finally, district magistrate stepped in, bus was started, and now that girl has got the first graduate and doing the job. It's unfortunate. We live in a different kind of scenario then. And please, when I'm saying India, I'm not talking about Connaught Place, I'm not talking about South Delhi, I'm not talking about Hauskas village. That's not India. If you're thinking things are different here, it's not. Yeah, and that's why I often say one line, I don't know who said it, but that's a very significant line to understand the problem in perhaps in one line, that dil ki jahaniyat ko saaf rakhiye janab, ladkiyan bhi hasa bola karti hain. Don't read too much into it. Don't create these kind of challenges. But we are. And that leads to a vicious trap for females, including this. Menstrual cycle is not, no sky has fallen. I'm talking about it from past 5 minutes. Why you think that, it's something which runs more in head than actually there. It's a simple biological process. With all dignity and respect, it should be. And that's why still that data is not up to the mark. Though increase, that's a good thing. Increase, but people should be aware of it. Families should be aware of it. So good news is that it is increasing, but women in this particular age group, 15 to 24, they should be a little more aware, and even family members should be a little more respectful to these kind of things. So that's how we got, and there's one thing called D. Look at this, total health expenditure. D is the report that how much of expenditure is going on in health. D consists of 3 major things. How much money government is giving in health, how much money people are spending from themselves. That is called out-of-pocket expenditure. So in health, how much you're spending from yourself, how much government is giving, how much is coming from insurance and other agencies. The good part is that out-of-pocket expenditure has gone down in India. That means insurance are doing, and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya is working. In fact, health insurances have also increased in India. But still, we have some odd 40% middle class which is not having the health coverage. This is the report of Niti Aayog, which is called Missing Middle. Missing Middle is a report of Niti Aayog telling us some odd 40% middle class which belongs to informal sector is not having health insurance. And we have universal immunization, E-Sanjeevani, Ayushman Bharat, I've already talked about it. Even National Deworming Day, which is observed twice in a year, to make sure that our kids are dewormed, and then National COVID Vaccination Program, we all are aware of it, what is called COVID. And if you see that here we are talking about what is there in Atmanirbhar Bharat, how we are working upon creating PHCs and these kind of facilities. Even we have one thing called Ayushman Digital Mission. And we have what now a complete digital ecosystem for health. Everyone is going to have an ID card, health ID card. We are going to have complete database. So that's why not a surprise in the prelims last year you got National Digital Health Mission. That's why I'm saying this year it's PM Shri. It has rationale for it. So this is how we got when we talk about this Atmanirbhar, and then we get dedicated COVID structure. COVID, already, This is something which they have provided also, that why insurances are very important for India. Insurance is one of the underrated thing. I often say one of the biggest achievement of insurance is that it provides you confidence. a safety, sense of safety. And that is why we call it saving for the rainy days, as you call it now, saving for the rainy days. So they had given a complete list of it, but nothing new is there. It's a routine one. Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandan Yojana, which is for elderlies. Then Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. Then we have Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima, Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi, particularly for e-Shram portal you might be aware of. E-Shram portal have how many digits? This is a key point because e-Shram portal got significant jump, 12-digit ID. Don't get confused. It's a 12-digit ID number, and now e-Shram portal is one of the major source to get the labor force, and we are connecting it with what is called National Career Plan, and this way we are creating job opportunities in the neighborhood. And then, aspiring rural economies are there. You can see that. Now, this is where in a nutshell, they have said what we are doing. Look at it. Affordable quality healthcare. We are having what is called Ayushman Bharat Digital, these kind of initiatives. All-weather roads. We have 7.2 lakh kilometer road under Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana is something which is there. So, if you see that, by the way, any idea how much of the total roads we have? I really wish 70 lakh. We are closer, 63 lakh. 63 lakh kilometer is the road network of India, and USA 67 lakh. So we are now second largest in a way, but we are making each day 38 kilometer. That's what I'm saying, each day, to give an emphasis, not every day. Each day we are making 38 kilometers. So we are a serious contender now. So this way if you see, and railway, any idea? How many kilometers? 68,000 kilometers. So look again, when it comes to all-weather roads are very important. Very important, not only for connectivity, but for the standards of life as well. So that is what we are doing. Then equipped schools are there, as you said, that PM Shri is social security. We have what is called various insurance programs. Then Manrega is there for livelihood security. We have clean cooking oil as per LPG under Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala, as you know, where cooking fuel has been given. We are in 2.0 of it. So Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, we are in 2.0. Then we have what is called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, that is village skill development, where we are training the skill in the rural areas. Sanitation and drinking program, as I told you, Jal Jeevan mission is there. Har Ghar Nal is something which is a submission into this. And then we have Saubhagya. Please understand this another thing, which I think is an important development here. Saubhagya, you might have read here and there in your infrastructure, that in energy, India has a serious concern. The concern is that our grid is common. Even subsidized electricity and commercial electricity goes on the same grid. Same grid. And that's why Saubhagya is now a separate feeder for village section. And this way we are ensuring that 24/7 village supply is there for, across the 6.4 lakh villages. I'm not going too much, obviously it's a routine discussion, in terms of energy, and energy is a key driver. That's why in National Infrastructure Pipeline, which is a project of 111 lakh crore rupees for next 5 years, 24% will go in energy reforms. Highest budgetary allocation is in the energy reforms. So this way we are ensuring that electricity is there, and obviously Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Sahari, that is housing for all, we are creating houses for them. So 2.1 crore houses. This is a routine thing, but I think this snapshot could be useful for mains examination. In mains, it may be various initiatives taken, or maybe one or two of them could be asked, whatever. Like this year, they have already asked about road and railway has been I have seen there's a pattern that 1 year energy, 1 year railway, 1 year port, that kind of thing they are following. And then here, what has been done for rural areas, as I told you, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, if you're not knowing that there's a very ambitious scheme called NRLM for the rural livelihood. NRLM, where we are providing rural livelihood with the skill development and paid full work. So that is, NRLM is now named as Ajivika or Deen Dayal Upadhyay NRLM. So that is there. Then Manrega is there. Then Gramin Kaushal, I've already talked about, is more than 13 lakh candidate has been registered there. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission. So all that has been briefed here, what we have just seen. So that's how we got when we talk about how the schemes are. At least name you should remember and what exactly they are focusing upon. As UPSC, probably they are not interested that whether you are knowing the data or you can mug it up. Again, this is one of the biggest misunderstanding we have. I request you to do this homework. Don't trust me. Go at home and see that how many database question has been asked in the last 2, 3, 4 years. You'll be surprised to know that you had you were having a wrong impression that they ask a lot of data. What we want, even digital mission, we have not asked the data. We have asked whether you're knowing the concept or not. It's for whom? That time it was for adults. But now we are further increasing it. Even youngsters also can get it now. So this is how we got, these schemes. So Saubhagya now is Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana is for separate rural feeder, and we have achieved the target by 2022. Gram Jyoti Yojana is for village electrification. This is something which I think could be significant because one scheme is there called Swamitwa. Swamitwa is what? Swamitwa full form is survey of villages and mapping with improvised technologies in the village areas. Because you might be knowing in your syllabus, we have one thing called land reforms. For land reforms, one key objective is land digitalization. If we got digitalization of the land, that exactly how much of land is there, then probably we can use AI, etc. to identify if there is a bogus land distribution. So Swamitwa is a very important initiative towards land digitalization. And there is another initiative, ISRO, and one center is there, ISRO Mahallobis Center we call it, that is providing us satellite-based imagery of crops. This is part of your e-agriculture. That's why syllabus, they have highlighted all these things. E-agriculture, we have one thing called FASAL, which provides us forecasting, which is satellite-based, that what is going to be weather and what kind of things. Like if you see that we got this westerly disturbance warning well in time. And I'm sure I really feel bad about this rain though. I know in the summers you will be enjoying pakoda khane ka time aa gaya. But but the fact is that for villages is very detrimental because their wheat, which is a rabi crop, might be adversely impacted if not reached to the warehouse. So we have these kind of productions now, and that's even more required. So considering all this, Swamit is also a very important development, which is providing them the land holding records and such things. That's how we got, a nutshell that what is the chapter is. So chapter has said, again, if I have to cut it short, though I am not right person to call it cut it short, so the entire thing, I hope let's have a quick recap. What I discussed, first I said why this chapter is significant, what is social infrastructure. Then I told you that how the continuous social expenditure has increased. Then I told you that how HDI is proving that globally we all are falling. And that's why if you allow me to use metaphors, I could say that India is the shining shirt in the laundry, the dirtier laundry, where everything is bad. At least we are not that bad. But I'm not taking shelter of it. I'm not taking a shelter of it. I'm saying this is the situation out there. Then I told you how multidimensional poverty index 16.4 we are. That means overall situation is good. We talked about what is the situation in labor, what is the report of periodical labor force survey, and all parameters we are doing good. What is the supply side thing telling us as per annual survey of industries, clearly indicating that we are doing good. Food processing is something which is the winner of the story. Then I told you that how we got in terms of what you can say overall situation in education, then what is there in terms of health, and what is there in terms of rural landscape, and we have taken total snapshot that what is the situation in terms of quality of life. Not here, but maybe in mains one more document could be significant for you, which has been given the original document. They had given one very good infographics, again in this hub and spoke model, which is called digital infrastructure in various sectors. So that you also can take a note if you're writing somewhere, that digital infrastructure from original document of economic survey, that you should look into, that what are various dimensions which are definitely, like e-Sanjeevani is there, look in terms of various things now, portals are there, and even from messaging to farmers to what not. So DD Kisan, SMS services, everything is there in various sectors to make sure that we are having digital infrastructure to ensure what is called good governance. So this was in nutshell the chapter. In the last, as we have given some questions, let's take a quick look. But before that, what this budget is talking about. I've already told you, affordable health for all is there, and sickle cell anemia elimination mission, which is there. And anemia will be eliminated completely by 2047. A tough task. Really a tough task, because more than 50% of the anemia cases we have. So it's we don't have resting time. 25 years is too less a time, because we have to work from pillar to post for the nutrition. That's why I personally believe this is your mains question, and I will be 0% surprised if an essay. Because I don't know how much you're understanding the gravity of the situation, but having this target that by 2047 anemia free, as of now, looks very difficult. And had they said less than 30%, less than 20%, I would have accepted. But completely anemia free, we need complete overhaul of our digital infrastructure. Digital health infrastructure, sorry. Then multidisciplinary course for medical devices, that is there because India is now, do you know that last 2 years, one item is surprisingly increasing in the export of India. And these two items are, one is pharmacy. And that's why now India is considered the world pharmacy. Do you know we rank first now in generic drugs? Those who are not knowing, generic drugs means on which patents are not applicable. Please, they are not inferior drugs. The only difference is the patent is not applicable. So any drug after 20 years becomes generic drug. So in generic drug, India ranks 1 now. And even globally, pharma market, we are third now. And with the bulk drug park coming in Himachal Pradesh, anyone from Himachal or the nearby will be knowing it's the hub of the drug industry. So we are now creating bulk drug parks in Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat. And with this massive pharma production and pharma industry like injections and other kind of, because now India is championing developing a new kind of injection which don't change the needle. It is single use only, get blocked automatically. And we are having worldwide demand for it. Even World Health Organization is interested in this project. So this way we are having pharmacy as a new hope. And that's why this budget was not shy of talking about it, that how we are working on manufacturing and research in the medical field. Accessing education for all, I have already told you, teachers training program at the district level is something which we are talking about. National Digital Library for Children is already there. No one to be left in Pradhan Mantri PVTG, that is particularly Vulnerable Tribal Group Development Mission. Anyone, how many PVTGs we have? 75, very good. So we have 75 PVTGs, and this is where you have to take a proper note that why we are focusing upon it, because I told you, out of 6, 5 belong to SC/ST in multidimensional poor. So we need to act upon it. And that's why for particularly vulnerable tribal groups, we have earmarked 15,000 crore rupees for the idea of developing. In fact, this is where we got another thing called Leaders. Leaders is an initiative to create tribal youngsters to be what is called leaders in their area and participate for overall empowerment. Eklavya model residential schools are, again for tribal people, providing residential schools on meritocratic basis. And whatever drought-prone regions, especially as you know that the Upper Bhadra project, central assistance has been given, knowing this, that how we got the drought situation 3 years in a row in that area. Urban development, this is something which again I'll say take a note of it. We have introduced one thing called Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. Urban Infrastructure Development Fund has been created particularly for Tier 2, Tier 3 cities development. Because if Indian urban cities has to be sustainable as per SDG 11, we have to focus upon Tier 2 and Tier 3. This is where the demand is coming, this is where infrastructure is needed. So Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, we got a special budget that is called Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. And the capex expenditure has increased. I'm sure you have already taken this in notice. And those who are in class could recall it, because by that time I think we have already discussed the budget, that this thing is now a routine feature. I said in the class, I don't know whether next budget will talk about it or not. But now effective capital expenditure is a routine feature. 2 years in a row, they had given the document. Effective capital expenditure is your capital expenditure plus money given in various grants. And there is a 33% increase in the capital expenditure in this year's budget. Last it was 33.7%. Clearly indicates that India is earmarking money. We are not shy of developing infrastructure in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, because they could be the game changer. Tier 1 cities are already overburdened. So we need to work upon tier 2, tier 3. And for that, Urban Infrastructure Development Fund has been created. So urban sanitation is something which we are trying to make this completely machine hole. I hope you're knowing that it's not, earlier we call it manhole, because in the seepages, in the manual scavenging, where the man enter is called manhole, where the cap was. Now we are changing it machine hole. We have got a robot called Bandicoot. So we are cleaning with the robots, and machines are being used. PPE kit, etc. has been made mandatory now as per Manual Scavenging Abolition Act 2013. So we are focusing now, cities will be 100%. In fact, that's why Ministry of what's called Housing and Urban Affairs has also created with what is called Manual Scavenger Challenge across the country to identify that if there is any manual scavenging, we should be stopping it. So now we are going to make it completely mechanized, because it is inhuman, indignified, and very risky to the life. So that is what has been highlighted for the urban. And youth power, as I told you, 4.0 is there. With 30 Skill India international centers will be set up in different countries. This data is important for you. So we have 30 Skill India opportunities, and international centers will be set up. Unified Skill India digital platform will be enabled, because we know that we need to work upon both hybrid model, online, offline. So because of online modes can make skill availability even in the far-flung areas. So that is what we have. So this was about the chapter. Let's take a quick look on the questions given. You tell me whether you are making sense or not. With reference to the human development parameters, there was a global decline in human development between 2021, 22. Is that right or wrong? Right? Because we all were falling. More than 25% of the population in India is multidimensionally poor. Is how much? 16.4. And third is, more than 15% of Indian population is classified as vulnerable to multidimensional poverty report, MPI. That's, listen to me carefully. This is what I want to tell you. Even in examination, look, elimination round is very important. Don't take it lightly, especially in economics. We deliberately keep this question simple. Apparently, it may look difficult to you. Like this year, there was a question. Again, that various credit rating agencies, the question was asked. BRICS, work is with this, they have asked, and people get scared. Now I have seen that they are mugging up the credit rating agencies. ICRA kahan pe hai, headquarter kahan hai, grow up. We don't want that. We want you to know the basic of it. Credit rating agencies are to cross-check that whether if anyone want to be listed is right or not. So whose responsibility it is? SEBI. And there was one statement that credit rating agencies are managed by RBI. If you know that thing, which is a common logic, you could have easily answered the question. So in this question, which statement you are sure about? Second? Actually, let's maneuver with the second. If you know second, and statement given are correct, if you know this thing, that second is the answer, second is not the answer, so this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. Baki nahi bhi pata to bhi. Idea was 2020 hai PT, run banane se hai. Nobody is bothered about the grammar. Grammar means mein dekhenge. Here how to score better, and that's why trust your logic. I'm not kidding. I have constraint of time, otherwise could have proved it with several questions that we tried in the class. Key, you should know this thing very clearly. Very clearly, that in most of the questions, knowing the fundamentals help you to maneuver. Questions are designed that way, so that if you know the concept, you can answer. Because we know that not everyone is mugging the fact. We can remember because it is a bread and butter. Bread and butter, we say it several times, that's why it comes into the mind. Now look at this question. The share of self-employed worker increased in 2021 to from 2019 to 20. Is that true? Yes. The labor force participation rate has improved for both males and females in both rural and urban areas. I said it has increased in both in rural and urban areas for both male and female, but real wages has gone down. Getting the point? So labor force participation rate, that's where I am looking into the statement. So yes, first is right, second is right, so both 1 and 2 is the answer. With reference to the demand side of employment, now you tell me demand side. The employment demand side is annual survey of industry based. The employment is in the organized manufacturing sector has maintained a steadily upward trend. I told you EPF4 payroll is highlighting it, how we are moving towards more formalization. So the employment in the organized manufacturing sector is on the increasing side. That's right. Because manufacturing is the bigger player. You have seen 39% of the job is created by manufacturing. The apparel sector is the largest employer. Now it's not. It's food processing as of now, if you see this way. Maharashtra has the largest number of personnel engaged in factory. Now this is something which is wrong. It's Tamil Nadu now. So that's where the statement was. If you see the finer details, one line is being given somewhere. But then even, as you know, 1 is right, 2 is wrong. So look at the answer again. Look at the answer again. If 1 is right, so A might be the answer. If 1 is right, A might be answered. B, no. C ho sakta hai. D, no. Now look at this. Here I really want to know that whether you are knowing this factual information or not. Am I making sense? So this is how the question, if we want precision, something unique has happened. Generally it's Maharashtra, this time it's Tamil Nadu. So I didn't see that how the questions are designed. Question design करते समय ध्यान रखा जाता है कि whether if I want a precision of something, listen to me very carefully for this, and don't trust me, go and see the questions. If I want precision of something, further chances I will give a wrong answer. Then only precision will be checked. Like if I have to check this year that how many students are knowing that Institute of Millet Research, which is very important information, is in Hyderabad, so I won't give the answer Hyderabad. Further chances. Because I want to check precision here. Are you sure if it or not? So whenever we want to check precision, further chances the wrong answer will be given. I'm not saying always, but further chances. So this is one of the way of writing question. And if you want that you should be knowing roughly, then we go the right answer. That's how it is being made. Because we know that you're not mugging of every data. We want to see how logical and precise and sharp you are. And that's why I'm telling you time and again, please understand this point. Your alertness is important, not how much of the bulk knowledge you are having. And then next is, consider the following statement regarding the National Career Services Project. I told you, very important project, and we are going international this time. So it was launched to provide one-stop solution for employment and career related. Yes, that's the objective of it. It has partnered with the private sector with GD Saksham. Yes. It has an international job module. बट ऐसे क्वेश्चन में थोड़ा जल्दीबाजी मत करिएगा. कई बार ऐसा भी होता है दैट मे बी अगर मुझे इस क्वेश्चन को डिजाइन करना होता, विच ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स आर नॉट करेक्ट. हालांकि तीनों सही हैं. That's why questions are designed. And please, this is what I can't say here, but questions have an algorithm. They are not randomly made. Whatever questions you get in UPSC have an algorithm. There is a hidden statement into that we want to check these things in the candidate. It's not that, okay, fine, you know this or not. Ki Karol Bagh, this lane goes where? No. We want to see some precision, whether you have this idea or not. And that's why looking into the question, you should be trying to figure out. And that's why I'm sure you have heard almost every selected candidate saying this, previous question paper are your anchor. This is where you start knowing what kind of question, where they can focus upon, and so. So all the statements are correct here. So B would be answered. Next question, if you see, consider, now this is something you might have skipped. Patrakar Didi, Jharkhand. Prerna Canteen, UP. Prerna Canteen, UP. Ajivika Farm Fresh, Jharkhand. So you know the answer now. Which one is right? So, one is right, second is wrong, third is wrong. So that way we have one only which is right and other are wrongly matched. Again, फिर वही बात था, अगर एक sure होते तो भी हो जाता, थोड़ा सा आपको at least 50% chances बढ़ते. So that's how we got this idea, and then we got a mains question in order to improve the ecosystem of quality of life. Remember that entire picture? In order to improve the ecosystem of quality of life, India has taken multifaceted social sector initiative. Abhi to khair I don't say you talk about mains. Is samay you should be in that mode. If somebody asks you where is this address, you say tell me 4 options first. Then I'll tell you where the address is. Right. So that should be your mode as of now. But after the prelims, you can try these questions. One is talking about human capital, health and education initiatives, and then the entire thing, what we have done for overall quality of life. So this was about this chapter, which was the lengthiest chapter in the economic survey this year, coincidentally. So I hope the class was productive for you. Tomorrow we'll talk about 2 more chapters, and particularly agriculture. Some major development has happened. We will focus on that too. Thank you. And let's call it a day now. Thank you. Tomorrow I'll talk about climate and agriculture. And I would be happy if you come a little read about it. Thank you.